This is my final analysis of Pastor Guzik, the final words that I had in my commentary. We'll just read those and then begin to draw this section to a close. Here's what I had to say. These are my own words. As was observed from the previous standard Christian sources already cited in this commentary, we notice Pastor David Guzik interpreting Yeshua's parables as evidence of Christianity being incompatible with Judaism, and therefore needing to supersede Judaism. Again, we're challenging replacement theology. We're challenging supersessionism. We're not challenging the need to replace a life of sin with a life of righteousness. Don't misunderstand. When I go on record as saying that supersessionism and replacement theology and all of those theologies are really bad theologies, I think they're bad theologies. When I go on record as saying that, I am aware of the fact that the Bible teaches and implies and demonstrates using various methods, parables, and stories and things like that. The Bible indicates that once Jesus takes up residency inside of a person, inside of a man, that there is in fact a very radical change that takes place, right? It's often described as a new birth, right? Jesus told Nicodemus, you must be born again. You must be born from above. Paul likens it to life from the dead, right? A resurrection, as it were. And the idea is that the old man, the old nature, and we're going to talk about this later on in my commentary, but the old man is needing to die. He has to pass on. And the new man must be brought to life. Of course, this is done by God's Spirit. It's not done by human effort. But the point I'm trying to make is that replacement theology doesn't stress the need for the salvation experience in the individual life. Supersessionism and replacement theology seem to highlight the idea that Judaism's out, Christianity's in, lifestyle, we don't have to keep the law of Moses anymore. So mainly they focus on, in my experience, the idea that God's no longer dealing with Israel anymore, almost kind of like a dispensational perspective. But it's definitely this kind of perspective for Gentile Christians that you don't need to concern yourself with the law of Moses anymore. Don't worry about keeping kosher, keeping the festivals, keeping Sabbath, doing all those religious, rigorous things. Don't worry about all that. The New Testament is your new standard. You're led by the Spirit, and therefore you're no longer under the law. You're free from all of those restrictions, right? As if the law of Moses was too restrictive. You don't have to try and keep it, right? It's this perfect standard that no one could keep anyway, a millstone around your neck. You don't need all that now that you're being led by the Spirit. And so that's part of the message of replacement theology, supersessionism. So we don't need to confuse this study with, oh, but Ariel, and I get emails about this, oh, but Ariel, yes, there's something radically new taking place. Yes, we're going to get to that in the next section down below with old man, new man. All right, so let me keep reading through this section. All right, so once again, I say we must ask ourselves, why would this need to be the case, right? Replacement of Christianity, of Judaism, Christianity. Why would this need to be the case with the coming of the Jewish Messiah? I mean, it's almost like a bait and switch. You have the Jewish people in the time period of the Tanakh witnessing God speaking through the prophets over and over again, right? Major and minor prophets. And they're explaining that this Messiah, this promised one is going to, this king of Israel is going to come to Messiah and is going to liberate them in a way that they can't really even fully grasp. He's going to bring peace to Israel. He's going to establish Israel as a preeminent people group, right? Isaiah talks about how the law is going to go forth from Zion and things like that. And so the Jewish people had this kind of this expectation, this promised one, this Messiah, this anointed one, this Son of Man, who's going to be favorable towards Israel's interests, right? Israel wants to keep Torah. Messiah is going to bring Torah. He's going to cause it to flourish. Israel wants to be out from underneath her enemies. This Messiah is going to accomplish that and be this champion for God and for the people and things like that. And then Jesus hits the scene, and what? He's the Messiah, at least we believe he is. I'm speaking as if I'm a first century Jew. He claims to be the Messiah, right? And he's got all these miracles, and these wonderful teachings, and he's obviously anointed, he's charismatic, he's got this power to heal and all these things. And yet, the message he's bringing, are you ready for this? Instead of bringing Israel to preeminence, he's going to discard her. He's going to replace her. He's going to swap her out. He dangled this bait of, hey, I'm going to exalt you and bring Torah to the nations through you and with your help. But no, oops, sorry, fooled you, didn't I? I'm bringing a brand new law called the law of Christ, and brand new people, and they're called the Christians, and a new dispensation, and a new era called the New Testament, the New Covenant. And so bye-bye, law of Moses, bye-bye, old people of God, bye-bye, old standards. You don't have to do any of those things anymore. Out with the old, in with the new. Is that what's going on? And, that would be a horrible trick that God would have played on the Jewish people if it were true. In fact, if we're going around as Christians telling Jews today in the 21st century, as we witness to them, that the law is out, the law of Moses is out, and that the law of Christ is in, that you don't have to be a Jew anymore, you just need to worry about being a Christian. In a sense, that's what we're doing. We're fostering this whole bait and switch idea, which is really deceptive, right?